Welcome back to part 9 of Final Fantasy XII, where today, with the help of Lamont, who's on his own little quest, we'll be exploring the mines to try and find where Begamlin took Penelo. It's obviously a trap, but heaven forbid that we let Varn not dive headfirst into danger. But that being said, this part's also going to be quite cutscene heavy as it goes on.
The Lusu Mines. One of the richest veins in Ivalice.
Under Imperial Guard, no doubt.
Actually, no. With but few exceptions, the Imperial Army is not permitted within Bujerba. Well, shall we proceed?
Lot of confidence for us and for such a small kid. Like, how old can he be? Like 11 at most? A lot of bravado for such a dangerous location that we'll be entering. Oh well.
You will forgive me for asking, but you are diverting the purest of the Magicite.
I can assure you it reaches Lord Vane most discreetly.
Ha! You wear your saddle well.
Be that as it may, I have no intention of being bridled, Your Honor.
Then you prefer the whip? Stubbornness will see not only you broken, Excellency, but Bujerba as well.
Halim Ondor IV, the Marquis of Bujerba. The Marquis served as mediator at the negotiations of Damascus' surrender. It would appear that he is somewhat less neutral now.
They say he's been helping the Resistance.
They say many things.
You're certainly well informed. Who did you say you were again?
What difference does it make? We have to find Penelo.
And Penelo is your...
She's a friend. She was kidnapped and taken here.
And after that introduction to the Marquis, who was also a narrator at the start of the adventure, welcome to the Lusu Mines. This place, when you first visit it, you'll be forgiven for thinking that it's not that big, because it's a pretty small linear path. You go through this tunnel, you go through another tunnel, you cross a bridge, go through another tunnel, cross another bridge, and then you're pretty much there. But in reality, this place is actually gargantuan. You just can't explore it all yet. It's another dungeon. Our third one now, I believe. Or where it's you're supposed to come back later. Like once you've done everything, or just much later on when you've done your side questing, you'll be able to access this area in a different light, and you'll be able to explore far more of it, and then you'll soon realise that this place is humongous. We did just pick up the silence spell on the other side of it, so it is worth noting that to get that now. Save worrying about it later. But in that being said, silence isn't a spell I worry with about too much. Like, Varn using the Mage Masher right now is only going to be useful for so much longer in the game, but you can notice that it's supposed to, it tries to cast silence every time you swing. Yet it doesn't really connect. Like, it'll connect on occasion, but not much. The other thing worth mentioning whilst you're in here is that this dungeon is also your introduction to traps. Traps are a thing in this game. And they're just these red circles on the floor that when you stand on them will explode and either do a lot of damage or inflict you in a negative status condition, or both. But you can't see them unless you've got the Libra turned on. So unless you've got your analysis mode skill technique on. The example being, we just went over an explosion trap. And so I immediately go over the techniques. Realise that you can only cast Libra on yourself, so I'm like, alright fine, I'll do it as Varn, because I'm pretty sure Varn has it as well. There you go. Now for some reason this switch on the wall you can't interact with until after you've done the plot in this area. Once you've done the plot, return here and you can interact with that switch immediately. All it does is open the gate to the left of us, this gate. So they want you to go around. If you look on the map you can see you need to go up and around it. I take this as an opportunity to do quite a wide berth, just because these skeletal enemies are amazing for experience early on in the game. And so doing a wide berth to take on more of them as I go around. And I was also partially hoping that I'd be able to spot a trap so I can highlight it on the recording, but they'll get their time. And this is also the first location where you're likely to finally start to see how the chain mechanic starts to work. It's something that you've seen before as we've gone on, but I haven't particularly really spoken or made much of a point about. The way chaining works is that the more of the same enemy you kill in a row, the better your rewards, or the better your luck with the rewards will become to be. So it's essentially like if you want rare loot from an enemy, you want to keep killing that same enemy because it will slowly but surely build up your chances and build up your rates of getting them. And in the second half of this first visit, also there's a trap by the way, that red circle. In the second half of your first visit, all the enemies are skeletal. So you can absolutely just grind between free spaces and have no trouble whatsoever. But the traps, I do want to talk about them because it's something that I am actually quite critical of and how they handled in this game. You've just seen it. No matter what you do, your AI companions will never think to walk around them. You can try your hardest to like perfectly evade them and be on the edge of it, but if the pathing happens to make it so the AI buddies will walk through where it is anyway, they'll set it off anyway. If they made it so only who you're in control of could set it off, it wouldn't be a problem at all. But no. Additionally, there's no way to dismantle or get rid of them. And I can make this criticism because Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic came out like a year before this, and it allowed you to dismantle mines and then use them yourself later on. But it also made it so you could see mines if your base stats were high enough. What's this? You have to use the Libra spell. And the trap placements, like, they're semi-random. I've always said semi-random. They're not completely random. Like, there'll always be like, there'll be one on this particular corridor or one in this particular zone. It's just it's random within it. But there's a lot of open spaces in this dungeon where there'll never be a trap down. But this slide corridor down the right here will always have a trap down it kind of thing. It's just where those traps end up being is what will be random. That's what I mean. Like if we go out towards the train tracks, there won't be any. But for the sake of keeping it up, I constantly cast Libra on me as well. Alternatively, and another alternative around it is to get the spell Float. If you've got the float condition, your character will technically not be registered as touching the floor, so you won't set off any traps. And that's something that's universal for the series. If you've got float on you, any trap or hazards that you could stand in will no longer affect you. Here's another gate that we can't open, but that gate will actually lead to the other parts of the dungeon that we just can't access yet and won't be able to access for a while. You can already kind of see it on the map. There's a huge section to the left that we just can't go into. But as a whole, this area is pretty linear. This is the first area that we're in now that is nothing but skeletons. And if you're sitting there like, but where are the enemies? I can't see more. They're all in the middle bridge. Look at this for a trap placement. I got it. But in the bridge in the middle, it's not an infinite spawn, but if you go up and down it like 3 or 4 times, enemies will keep on spawning. The only thing worth mentioning is that if you go into the neighbouring area, it will not respawn the enemies. You have to move 2 areas away for the enemies within to respawn. So if you really want to get the best grind chain out of this area, what you need to do to keep the chain going is go back 2 areas but hold down the flee button, so then no one will bother attacking the enemy, so you won't affect your chain. So like go back to essentially the other bridge, and as soon as you touch the other bridge, go back to here, let go of fleeing, and then let everyone take them down again. Just if you're gonna do the meat of grinding using these skeletons, which like I said I quite recommend, don't do it now because we've yet to get our full team. Wait till you've got your full team together, then come back, because you'll know what you'll have a better idea of what you want to do. Alternatively, there's also this area just above it, which is also a great area for going, because it's just more skeletons. Like I said, the only enemies down here are the skeletons, so you can build up your chain quite easily. The only thing is that after we've done with this visit, Once Lamont's done his quest, he will leave, so you'll be back to a party of 3. And on the bridge, the amount of skeletons that spawn will overwhelm you at your current levels. So if you really want to do some early game grinding, do it whilst you still got Lamont as a guest in your party. Don't finish this area, essentially. Like, Penelo can wait. But you're going to see it's around now that I start checking my equipment, because I know we got a little bit of a dangerous environment coming up. And I also unfortunately go the right way first. I forgot which way was the right way and I ended up going it first. But it's not the end of the world because the other direction doesn't offer much. The other direction is just another dead end. And it's a very quick dead end. Like, you can see more of it than you can actually go into right now. Also, I missed a treasure chest there, but when I came back later in my recording, it wasn't there, so it was just a random loot, meaning it wasn't important. But as you go for up here, you do go into plots, and Lamont can finish off what he wanted to do.
This is what I came here to see.
What's that?
It's nethicite, manufactured nethicite.
Nethicite?
Unlike regular magicite, nethicite absorbs magical energy. This is the fruit of research into the manufacture of nethicite. All at the hands of the Draclaw Laboratory. So this is where they're getting the magicite.
Errand all attended to, then?
Thank you. I'll repay you shortly.
No, you'll repay us now. We have too much on our hands to go on holding yours. So, where did you hear this fairy tale about nethicite? And where did you get that sample you carry? What do you know about the Draclaw Laboratories? Tell me, who are you?
Balthier?
You kept us waiting, Balthier! You slipped away in Albina! We missed you! First the judge and now this boy. The whole affair has a smell of money about it. I may have to wet my beak a little.
Keep your snout in the trough where it belongs. This thinking ill befits you, Begamnon.
Balthier! Too long have I gone unpaid. I'll carve my bounty out of that boy.
Where's Penelo? We're taking her back.
The girl? Why keep the bait when you've landed the fish? We cut her loose on the way here and then off she ran crying like a babe.
Hey!
After them!
Hey, wait up!
We'll not be able to take them all. Fight who we must, leave the rest.
What Balthier said at the end there might as well summarise to fight none of them. All of them will brutally kick your ass pretty quickly, so just run. Just keep moving. You're going to see me, like, at one point early on turn around and say, well, hang on a minute, what if I try and take them? And then, like, one of them dies pretty quickly, so I just kind of go against it. But unfortunately, there was another explosion trap, because I wanted to quickly try and explore out this little block. But as you can see in the mini-map in the corner compared to the big map, once again, very limited. You can't do much up here. There's nothing of interest here, though, so it was a bit of a wasted trip. I just wanted to check everywhere before we move on. Balthier, unfortunately, gets taken out, but we have enough Phoenix down, so it's not the end of the world. Lamont's also left your party as a guest because he ran ahead faster than you, I suppose. So just hold down fleeing and keep on moving. There's a whole host of skeletons here, but if you stay to fight them now, you'll just get overrun because the Begamnon and his crew will transition screens as well, chasing after you. I mean, it's a cool little sequence, this. Because he's literally just spawned in. You just have to keep moving. I also decided to detour along here, hoping that more traps had spawned, but none had. And the reason why I say hoping is because then I could catch Begamnon, because it would pause him. But once you cross this bridge, it's the end of the sequence, and you somehow, despite it being a linear path, lose Begamnon. And it will also, if you don't do the side quests, will be the last time you see him. Which is kind of interesting to mention.
It would not seem they follow. We've lost them.
Much more running about with Bunga at my heels, and I'm apt to give up sky pirating altogether.
See, despite the fact we went in a straight line, we've lost them. I wonder what turn they took. But like I said, Lamont is out of your party now, so you won't last as effectively, at least at your current level, going back to the grinding bridge. I'm just going to refer it to the second bridge where all the skeletons are on. But I will be using that bridge later on, just only after we've done the prologue, because we are actually finally starting to get close to the end of the prologue. 2 parts from now is the last time we need to do anything with the prologue, to give you an idea. I also swap out Van for Fran, and I kind of keep it this way for a little bit moving forward, because Fran's just got healing magic, and that's pretty much the end of that argument. Like, this is where it's starting to reach the end of Van's usefulness, or reaching the end of my care for Van's usefulness. Moving forward, Van's going to get very little screen time, with the exception of hub worlds. When you're in hub environments where there'll never be any encounters, it always automatically makes you control Van, which is weird, but oh well. It doesn't bother me enough to make it so I have to have Van in the party. I'll just have my party be the way it is, and then just have Van get the funsies of running around town. And I decided to keep on cleaning up the enemies as we go, so it gets Fran up to level 10. Which is, the levels I am now is around about where I wanted to be. There's a few more bits and pieces we're going to be doing before we completely wrap this up. Well, I say wrap this up, before we move on to the next plot area, but we got another cutscene, so I've got to shut up again.
I see you've been out walking without the company of your cortege, Lord Larsa. We caught her wandering out of the mines. You must take care with such undesirables about.
I was kidnapped.
Silence!
If it is a crime to wander on one's own, then I too am guilty. Marquis, I trust that your estate can accommodate another guest.
Why not?
Judge Geese, I shall heed your counsel. I will not travel unaccompanied any longer.
That was unexpected.
Thank you, Penelo.
Of course.
What's Penelo doing? And what's the deal with that Lamont?
That's no Lamont. Larsa Ferinas Solidor, 4th son to Emperor Gramis and brother to Vane.
What? That kid?
Do not worry. I believe he will treat her well.
Nobody knows men like Fran does.
Our purposes lead the same way. To Ondor. We must find means to approach him.
The Marquis is channeling money to organizations opposing the Empire. We'll start there.
Marquis Ondor announced my execution 2 years ago. If news of my survival were to spread, the Marquis may find his position compromised.
The men he's been funding bear little love for the Empire. They won't be thrilled to discover that rumors of your death were, in fact, greatly exaggerated. If we were to raise a clamor to that effect, we might just get their attention.
Nothing to it. I'll just go around town spreading the word. How about this? I'm Captain Bosch von Ronsenberg of Dalmasca. Well, what do you think?
That certainly qualifies as a clamor. All right, Van, get to it. For the girls' sake, eh? Oh, and the more people around to witness your little performance, the better. If we're going to reach the Marquis, it's up to you. We'll be waiting here if you need us.
But now we've got a little kind of redundant and a little boring section. Like, it's a nice little thing to spice up the gameplay, but it's not that fun. You just need to go around, find people, and then hit square. You'll get a much better boost if you can do it near spokespersons, those people with the books in front of them. But if just general people hear you, it will not bother going up, or they'll just ignore you and it won't go up at all. But it is also slowly ticking down, so be careful as you go. The only thing that's also worth mentioning, and I do unfortunately highlight it because I just completely forgot, if you go to testify near an Imperial Guard, they will shut you down, and you actually lose most of your notoriety, probably all of it if you're not above like 50% or something. So just be careful as you go around. Yep. This guy here, they will stop you dead in your tracks if you go to testify near them, and it will hurt your notoriety. But back to the discussion I was had before the cutscene started about what levels I wanted to be before, because once we've done this and done the notoriety, we will have a little cutscene play out, and then we'll be invited to go visit the Marquis, because we'll have our notoriety up to catch his attention, essentially. But once you go to do that, you're in another section where you can't leave until you've done it, and it's one that can be a little tough. It's the first actually pretty tough locking point, your locked in point until you're done. So you do have to kind of be a bit prepared for it. It's not too bad now I'm older, but when I was a kid it was a nightmare, so I guess it's just made enough of an effect on me that nowadays every time I come back to it I always make myself a little bit more prepared than I was. And what I mean by that is that there are some hunts that you can pick up here in Bejerba that I'm going to be doing. There's a little bit of a mini game you can do with this notoriety system that you're kind of noticing now, where that guard is walking up and down, so I had to wait for him to walk away before I told the spokesperson that stuff's going on. And also get used to hearing Varn shout this.
Bosch lives.
If it was always just Bosch lives, it wouldn't be so bad. But no, it's never just that. Oh, you're right in this section, because that guard's just right there. So you're going to see me try and tease to get it for ages and just get no luck. But as I was saying, there are some hunts in Bejerba. There's no elite marks in Bejerba. You can only really get them from Mont Blanc anyway. And if you have somehow done the 2 elite marks that he offers there, you still won't have your rank high enough yet to do any in Bejerba. You need to get further in the plot to get access to more through that, and then do them before you get more in Bejerba. But we will be getting more in Bejerba later on. So there are a few hunts we can do now. Where I say a few, there's one good one you can do now. Against a Nidhogg. Or Nidhogg, however you want to pronounce it.
I'm the Bosch von Ronsenberg.
But the Nidhogg will be taking on next part. I get the hunt this part, but I take him on next part. And because I wanted to get that hunt done as well, because I thought by the time I was on the other side of that hunt, I'd be a more comfortable level for tackling what I want to tackle. As you can see, I'm being cautious before I testify here. Is there any guards here? Because I don't want to lose my percentage, especially now I'm on 93. There's a guard. I come down here and I was like, look, there's a lot of faces. I can imagine this will boost it enough. I don't think it does. Yeah, 94. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, come on. So I start looking around for another spokesperson. This is what's annoying. When you can't find any spokesperson and there's guards around as well, it feels like it takes forever to get it anywhere. But thankfully I managed to get it up. And once you hit 100%, you'll hear a little ding to say that, hey look, you've done it. And then this little bit will play out where people will come get you because they want to know why you keep on saying you're Bosch. It's because, he's supposed to be dead and has been for 2 years.
This is the one, Amaro. Says he's Captain Bosch, he does.
He would sooner pass for the king.
I knew he weren't no captain. That was a mean trick to be playing.
If a trickery it ended, it would end well enough. But why this boy? And why Captain Ronsenberg? An explanation is due, and I will hear it. The Empire's hounds grow passing bold indeed.
A shame if they learnt the Marquis trafficked with the likes of you. Agents masquerading as guides, a hideout at the back of a tavern? Not exactly earning high marks for originality, are we?
Now you've done it.
Wait! So Bosch von Ronsenberg does yet live.
So Vaughn really is all right. I didn't think I'd ever get to see him again.
You will join him soon. And until then, I shall see that you are kept from harm.
Thank you.
I am troubled. The Rabanastor Imperial Guard appear to have overstepped their bounds. I intend to speak on this with the Consul.
What?
Vane Solidor, the Consul, is my brother. The first duty of the Consul is to maintain order in Dalmasca. My brother is not one given to failure. Perhaps things aren't going as well as they might be, but give him a little time and he will put things to rights. Be not troubled. My brother is a remarkable man.
He frightens me.
Why?
I'm sorry. He is your brother. It's just, you don't understand how much we lost to the war. My friends, my parents.
So you fear the Empire? Listen to me. The men of my family, we are taught to place the needs of others before those of our own. I will see that you are kept from harm. It is my duty to House Solidor.
But how? How can I trust you?
Because I give you my word. My brother would do no less.
I knew there must be more to it, but to find you at the end of this tale? To see the Marquis's face when he learns of it.
I should like nothing more. I would meet him and see for myself.
How say you, my lord?
There is little to be said. I shall arrange a meeting with the Marquis. We shall expect you at the estate.
Lord Laster's kind of functioning as the perfect symbol of I'm not a part of it, so I don't know what you're talking about. Seriously, through that scene talking to Penelo, he assumed all was good just because he's had it good, but he couldn't fathom that the nations that were taken over by the Empire coincidentally wouldn't be happy with their new imperial rulers, especially because people fought to stop them from taking over the way they did, and many lost their lives for the Empire to just take over anyway. So of course Penelo doesn't like the Empire, of course they're fearful to her. Well, they scare her even. Like, it's not... Like, and yet Lord Larson is just sitting there like, but no, they're good people, how can you be scared of them? Like, he wisens up, he's gonna wisen up, you can kind of already see the seeds of it, he's gonna wisen up as it goes, but it's just when I sat there, I always kind of just grinned, like, it's easy to spot the real life parallels to it. But that being said, on that note, next time on Final Fantasy XII, we'll be doing a little bit of side questing before going off to talk to the Marquis Sondor and getting on with the last final section of the prologue. I know, so it's only taken us like 10 parts, but until then, you guys take care now.